Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to another SC2 cast. And well, today I have got a ladder game. It is gonna be a ZVP and that is a fun matchup, and I'll talk about that slightly more in a minute. But first, let me introduce you to these two players. In the top left position, as the blue Zerg, we do have Blackcidy. And his opponent in the lower right, as the red Protoss, we do have mTLpal. So, it's going to be Pal versus Blackcidy. It's on Ahana, and we know it's a ZVP. And we know that it's going to be either a Nexus first or a Forge first, most likely, out of the Protoss player, just by this pylon, so already telling us what I'm sure most of us should have predicted. The reason I like this matchup is I think it's really well thought out. There's a lot that can happen. While you could argue that it can be knocked down to either the Protoss going for some form of 2-base all-in or trying to take a quick third, that doesn't really matter to me because there's different options available. For a start, you've got something conventional like a 5 to 7 gate all-in off of 2-base. Then you've got the Immortal Sentry all-in. Then you've got a Warp Prism Sentry drop into the main, which is really good on Ahana actually, because you can get up into this area, which if you don't have Overlords placed around the map down this side, can really catch a Zerg off guard. And finally, you've got a third base, which isn't too terrible to take, if I'm honest, because all you do is you knock out these rocks, complete the wall off up here, and just sit your army in this sort of position. So there's different options available to a Protoss in this situation, and as such, it's basically up to a Zerg player to deal with it appropriately. Now, for anyone wondering, this is on Wings of Liberty, not Heart of the Swarm, even though I am slowly transitioning over to the beta, of course. Just due mainly to me doing so much with ESET UK Masters and all of that being on Heart of the Swarm, I'm just getting more used to it. Little things really are amazing in the expansion, such as being able to click on the production tab to get taken to whatever's there. But enough about the joys of being an observer in the new expansion. Let me talk about what's going on for the time being in this game. We've got the hatchery down. It was a pull into hatch. Meanwhile, it was quite clearly a Nexus, Forge, then the Gateway. The Overlord will see everything though. And what this is important to note is that once the Overlord has seen that it's a Nexus first, you know your third base is going to be safe from cannons. You're not going to have to be worrying about that too much. But Blackcidy already got the 4 Zerglings out, just being a bit more cautious than perhaps some people may be. But anything from 2 to 4 Zerglings is fine early on. It just means that you can feel safe that there isn't going to be any proxy pylons or any cannon shenanigans happening. Of course, the other advantage is it means that you can start chipping away at these rocks, which is just a good, smart move to make going into the late game, because of course Zerglings take so long to take down rocks, it might as well be an eternity. Now looking here for Pal, at the moment he's got down that gateway, the cannon is up. This cannon placement is quite interesting because it can reach these rocks, and as such, it means that it can indicate that the Protoss player wants to go and take a quick third base. But again, we'll wait and see. I could be trying to read too much into it, but it's something that you should bear in mind when you are scouting out and seeing these sort of placements. The Cybercore is coming down in the main base, so that means that a little bit of information will be more hidden from those Overlords for slightly longer. The cannon is now taken down, or the pylon rather, the back is now taken down. The Zerglings will try and pick off that probe. Just going to be irritating. This third base came down at a nice time, just a bit later than you'd normally see it. Not by much, it was about 440. The reason for that was because there was 4 Zerglings as opposed to the 2 early on. And as you get more Zerglings, you push back how quickly that third base can get up and running. So economically speaking, we are still in a position where the Protoss is just ahead, but as this third base finishes up, as you start getting out these good high drone waves, it doesn't take long for a Zerg player to pull into the lead. In terms of upgrades, we've got +1 starting now for Pal. That is just really preparing him for a lot of different options. Getting that +1 down can indicate that it's going to be something such as an Immortal Centurion or a big gateway push. We'll wait to see whether we get that robotics facility anytime soon. There's enough money for it, so I'm hoping to see it shortly. It should be hitting in the near future. Meanwhile, drone transfers on the way for Blackcidy. We've got out the additional gas, so up to 2 gas now. The Roach Warren on its way down as well. Very standard timing on that Roach Warren, around the 6:40 mark. Anywhere between about 6:40 and 7 minutes is good for the Roach Warren. You should get your Evolution Chamber up really at the same time, or around the 7 to 7:30 mark, just to be safe from things such as airplay, Big Phoenix commitments, and also DTs in the off chance that your opponent is deciding to rush you. Now, looking around the map, we don't have too much else going on, just the 3rd and 4th gas there. No sign of the robotics facility quite yet, so this is quite surprising. It's getting chucked down now, but we see an awful lot of minerals banked up for power right now. And that's something that I do want to find out what he's planning on doing with that. He's going to have to be chucking down some gateways fairly soon. Gonna just wait until he's actually taken out this Overlord. He's gonna try and hide that information, and only getting 2 gateways and the Twilight Council. Ooh, it's not even 2 gateways. Yeah, 2 gateways. Where's that Twilight Council? Down the back with some additional, with an additional gateway. So he's going up to 4 gates with a Twilight, and also going double forge. Now using this cannon to take out these rocks. So this isn't an Immortal Sentry all-in. If we look at Blacksidy's vision, he didn't see the robotics facility, he didn't see those gateways, and didn't see anything. So essentially, he is blind. He has no clue what is coming out, and therefore is being forced to send these Zerglings over to get a good scout out. He's got some roaches out on the field as well, getting down the 5th and 6th gas, as well as the Evolution Chamber and the lair. So this is the sort of position where, as a Zerg, it couldn't be much worse. You need to know what your opponent's doing. Gonna see that these rocks are getting taken down, and is gonna see, come up here and scout, see the robotic facility. But unfortunately, I don't know if he saw that those rocks were taken down that far. Can now see the health of them, so knows that his opponent is going for that. But until you actually see the pylon or something come down, it's always possible it could be a mind game. But I'm loving the fact that he's generating creep here. That's going to be delaying this expansion quite a lot for Pal, and that in itself is incredibly frustrating. So the creep is going to be receding. We've got the infestation pit coming down as well here now for Blackcidy. So he's identified correctly. This isn't an all-in, but rather is gonna be a quick expansion. We do have the 2-1 upgrades in production, as well as Blink, so this is a very strong mid to late game force, and Blackcidy needs to correctly tech up and get his 4th base up and running fairly soon, bringing these roaches over, cleaning out these destructible rocks, also spreading creep very nicely. The macro hatch coming down as well. That's a nice stopgap. If you can't take your 4th as fast as you may want, get the macro hatch down. That therefore will allow you to keep up with production for a while and quickly saturate the 4th once you're able to take it. The Observer for Pal, getting a load of information, as we can see, just coming around, finding everything out. The Overseer, though, is going to try and deny it, but where's the Queen? The Queen from the other side is going to come back. Will the Observer go? Yes, it will. That is good news. We've got the, obviously, +1 carapace on his way down first. We do have some speedlings poking, prodding up, seeing the Forge is still researching. Of course, all of this is known to Blackcidy. He knows that this base is coming down, and actually taking the 4th over here. This is very surprising, because it's such a long way away from the 3rd. You are exposing yourself to warpins or Zealot run by, something like that, but perhaps it's just a longer term play that he's going to take this base fairly soon as well. He's got enough money for it, as we can see there, so could just take a very fast 5th, which would be a nice play considering he was late getting down his 4th and staying a base up. For the moment though, Hive on its way down. We've also got the Spire at the back of the Natural here. That just means that, you know what, I'm going to be teching straight to Broodlords. It's a very early Hive and Spire, probably the earliest you'd ever go for it when you're going straight to Broodlords, and as such, he should be okay, judging by the turtle position Pal has taken, and Pal can't really push out for quite a while. He's committed so much to going for late game. He's getting out his Templar archives as well, somewhere, which I cannot seem to find for the life of me. They are around here, but I'll be damned if I can find them. Am I just being blind? There they are. They were literally right under my nose. That is always an embarrassing moment as a caster. Don't tell anyone about that. The time that I couldn't find the Templar archives. I was going to say Twilight Council as well. My goodness. It's all falling to pieces once you get lost on the map. Now, as expected, Blackcidy is taking this quick 5th base. So, this is going to put him 2 bases up. He's going to be comfortable with that. His Hive is very near completion. As we can see, it's only about 8 seconds away. The Spire nearly finished as well here as well. So, the Greater Spire should start ASAP. A good number of Spine Crawlers coming down because, of course, it's not Broodlord Infestor. It's Broodlord Infestor Spine Crawler. You need all of them. This Burrowed Zergling just going to delay any 4th attempt from Pal. Good map control and really map dominance coming up from the Zerg at the moment with these Speedlings and Roaches. The Stargate is just really teching up towards the later Mothership that you will require in late game to deal with Broodlord Infestor. You need the Archons down, which will come from those High Templar. You need the 3-3 upgrades that we've got on their way out as well now for Blackcidy. And that's actually putting Blackcidy quite a long way ahead in terms of the upgrades. Currently, it's only +1 armor, no attack upgrades done yet, so 3-3 against 1-1 is of course going to be incredibly potent in terms of how effective the Protoss player is going to be here. So I would say in that respect, PAL is looking good, but of course the Broodlord force is going to get fairly substantial fairly quickly with 8 Corruptors already out. Blackcidy is going to need to sacrifice some of these units, sees the Zealots coming in, so we'll be able to go and clean that up hopefully, and he did see those but he's not going for it. He desperately needs to pull that over, otherwise this hatchery will go down. It's going to be close anyway because we can see so much damage being done by those 2-2 Zealots, and with so few upgrades they will not be able to get taken down in time, so that is a good little win there for PAL. Meanwhile, he's using this and using the fact that Zerg's being pulled back to clean this up by taking the expansion down here. Doesn't have detection out, so just uses a storm in order to get rid of that speedling. So very, very nice play there out of the red Protoss. Some speedlings are coming for some aggression. Unfortunately, there's not much in terms of defense here. The speedlings just running straight in towards the natural base. A warp in would be beautiful, but of course we've seen those already being used. Now we do have some speedlings running into the main, running into the natural as well. This is very, very stressful. And our Tosis pylon, oh my goodness, everything gets depowered. The Templar archives trying to get focused down, but in a nice walled in position. We do have some more warp-ins coming here. We see roaches in the third base. Blackcidy really doing some great aggression here. Depowering all of this is very important in terms of just reducing the production. Yes, the Cybercore doesn't matter too much. Yes, the single Stargate doesn't matter because you're only using that for the mothership rather. But all in all, I would say that was some good aggression. We've seen 21 workers killed. That takes the worker count to 92 for the Zerg player to just 59 of PAL. The fifth base, though, was taken out, so I'd still call things pretty even. It's looking okay. The danger zone is really now, though, for PAL. He's not got any Archons out. He's not got the mothership, yet there are 8 Broodlords on the field, and still this harassing play is going on. We see that, to be honest, speedlings could just try and punch down the natural. We see upgrade-wise, though, that obviously PAL is looking very nice. He's got 3-3 done. That's compared to what is 1-1, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to find something which I can check that on. Yeah, so 1-1 against 3-3 hugely favours a Protoss player, and as such, Blackcidy, he's going to have to engage well, use this tech wisely, but also he needs to go fairly soon, because as the Stalker count raises, as the number of Archons raises, and as that mothership comes out, you're going to run into the issue that actually my opponent has got a very strong force, and I may struggle to deal with that. A couple of fungal growths being used here, just trying to get rid of these Zealots. A couple more Zealots going to come towards the third and be greeted by a massive Spine Crawlers, so that will put an end to this aggression. Of course, this is why you acquire the Spine Crawlers, so that if your opponent chooses to go for an awful lot of Zealots, you can pick them off with that static defense. It's really a smart move. And also, putting 1 or 2 Spore Crawlers at each base is good as well, in case late game DTs are employed. Now, clearly, PAL deciding that I need some more gateways right now, getting a huge number out ASAP, and as such, he should be in a fairly comfortable position now. He's going to be able to really ramp up that Stalker and Archon production, and that's what he needs. He needs to get a good number of Archons, he needs a good Vortex to engage this Broodlord force, which is really starting to climb into a high number. 12 are going to be out fairly soon. We've got the second Spire for the double upgrades to get started. In terms of the ground upgrades, they are now going double upgrades, a 2-2 on their way, but still, this 3-3 for PAL is going to be problematic without doubt, so something that clearly Blackcidy needs to take into account when he does try to go in for the engagements. Now, creep spread does leave a little to be desired. You could have that a lot better at this point. I mean, if we were looking at someone like, say, Aces Scarlet, it would already be here, unless the Protoss was pushing it back. And as such, always keep trying to spread your creep, especially when you've got active creep tumors you could be using. There's no harm in that, it just will delay a Protoss push. But now we see PAL choosing to come and put on aggression at the third yet again. There's a good number of spines there, but all the Broodlords are completely the other side of the map. Such an immobile force as well means it will take a long period of time to try and get back to defend this. This fifth, almost certain to go down. PAL needs to be careful not to overcommit though. If he does come in for this engagement, he needs to be ready to run away and pull back, otherwise could be in for some serious issues should the Broodlord force position itself between the two armies, and now this is precisely what we're going to be seeing. Blackcidy going in for the counter push, going to try and take out the 4th base of PAL. There's a good force of Broodlords here. The Infestors wandering their way across, but look at this, the Protoss army on its way back. What is the Stalker count looking like? 24 Stalkers, and also those 4 Archons up against what is 13 Broodlords. They're the key threat. A good blink under is going to be essential. There is the energy for a Vortex. The Broodlords are quite clumped up. 1 Broodlord, 2 Broodlords going to go down here. Good little blink under there. A huge ton of infested Terrans. Those Stalkers are unfortunately going to die very fast now, but the Infestors getting taken out. This 4th base is going to struggle to hold, but PAL warping in as many Stalkers as he can for the moment. Needs to get ready for that money vortex. He needs to try and get as much as he can, and I'm surprised he chose to do it there rather than over there, but that is fine. We do still see yet more Broodlords getting focused out. A couple of Corruptors coming in. The Archons going into the toilet, and with that the swirly blue goo is gonna take out anything that is in there. Of course, the Corruptors now getting focused. Only 1 Broodlord was inside there though, so that could leave some to be desired, but it looks like PAL should be okay now. He's picking off the remaining Broodlords. He's dealt with this force. He's secured and kept his 4th base up while denying the 5th base of Blackcidy. All in all, PAL is definitely ahead now. Do not let this supply count deceive you. The Broodlords have been completely destroyed. There are none left on this field. And as such, I would call this game very much in PAL's favour for the moment. What Blackcidy needs to do is hold on and get those Broodlords back. He's got the money for it just. The gas is a little low. He cannot afford to be sacrificing Corruptors like this though, and this is exactly what he shouldn't be doing. Just that missed rally point means that they are free units, and you cannot afford free units if you're not maxed out, and even then you can't. Some Storms are trying to put an end to the speedling aggression. The Stalkers are getting caught out of position though, so that is something that is very good for Blackcidy. The Archons following back up in though. This single mothership is getting a little low on health. Needs to be careful of that, but of course the corrupt count is non-existent, which means the Broodlord count is non-existent, and as such, all PAL has to worry about are these speedlings, which is still just 2-2 compared to the 3-3 upgrades. These 2 Colossi do get caught out of position though, and this is exactly what you don't want to be happening. 1 Colossi is... wow. That is incredible. That Colossus managed to survive, but only just with 14 health. That was a miracle. A miracle that may just help PAL take a solid lead in this game. There's more Colossi in production. Those are going to be essential to deal with the mass Ling style currently being employed out of Blackcidy. The Infestor count is still up and looking good though at 14. It's just the lack of Broodlords I'm really noticing, and there isn't even the gas to afford those, because only mining gas, well, he's mining gas out of all of these different bases, but this 5th base missing could be the issue. A small warp in here, a burrowed Zergling going to deny the 5th potential base of PAL, who is warping in some Zealots now, and of course, as I mentioned previously, these are 3-3-1 Zealots against 2-2 Zerglings. That is a big upgraded advantage, going to make them very cost effective against Lings in this situation, especially as more come out now as well. But look at this. PAL, he has had enough. He is going for the 4th base to the left. He is putting on the pain, getting those Stalkers underneath the Corruptors, trying to knock them out. He has cleaned out all of the Spine Crawlers for the time being, but sees a couple of Broodlords there. But to be honest, with 2 Vortex available, he could get a beautiful one right now. He just needs to hit it, and that's exactly what he does. That Vortex couldn't have been any better, and Blackcidy leaves the game knowing he is unable to win this game with those Broodlords in there. So PAL played really solid that game. That engagement was perfect. Remember everyone, if you did enjoy the cast, make sure you like the video, make sure you leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe, because I get new games up every single day of the week. I'll see each and every one of you tomorrow for a new game. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now.